My name is Anthony Flint. I'm a fellow and director of public affairs at the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy, which is a think tank in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And my project here is urban expansion and Le Corbusier, the father of modern architecture, who had some interesting ideas about housing and accommodating the many millions of people that are going to be moving into cities. The background of my project is in a continuing investigation of urban expansion, of the way that cities around the world, particularly in the developing world, are growing so fast in terms of population, in terms of migrants coming in from rural areas. They're coming in from the countryside in search of a better life, and these cities are growing exponentially. And so at the Lincoln Institute and in my own work, we feel that this is really a big moment for urban planning to look at ways that this urban expansion and all these many millions of people can be better accommodated in a rational framework that takes into account the long-range planning that's necessary, the infrastructure, the transportation systems, and especially the housing, the need for decent, efficient housing so that so many millions of people, an estimated 1 billion people according to the UN right now, are not living in informal settlement or slums, where the conditions are so inadequate and where it leads to a lot of suffering that we would like to try to avoid. It's a big project, the urban expansion project. It's really the project of the 21st century in many ways. This is when all the really explosive growth is going to occur. More people than ever, more than half the world's population now lives in cities, and that's only going to increase as the planet's population increases, potentially to about 9 billion people by after 2050, 6 billion people, the entire population of the planet now, will be living in cities. So the focus on cities is so important, and really the urban century, and there's a lot of room for innovation and thinking of new ways to approach urban planning. The way that Le Corbusier figures into all of this is that he, by the turn of the century, by the turn of the 20th century, had begun to look at cities and quite a fair amount of informal settlement, really, shanty towns, and what he viewed as the sort of the chaotic conditions of cities like Paris, and started to come up with new ways of bringing more order and health and good health to cities. Now, many of his ideas were not well received, and in truth, his urban design schemes were not all sensible. He thought about towers and green space to bring in light and air. But what I'm interested in is that he was approaching the problem with creativity and innovation and thinking in new ways. His designs and his buildings had never been seen before, and he broke with the past. Indeed, he even changed his own name in a way that suggests a willingness to innovate, to disrupt, and to think in new ways in terms of architecture and urban planning. So my book on Le Corbusier is an attempt to tell his life story and show how he was able to innovate, to reinvent himself when necessary, as a kind of a case study of an architect and urban planner facing these challenges that we face today. My experience in Bellagio has really created a whole new framework for my writing and thinking about my research and composing the book, composing the narrative. And one way that this happens is that there are so many different people from different fields. When you sit down and talk about your work, you have to explain it in simple terms, yet precise, in a precise way that will make it understandable, and it really forces you to make it understandable to yourself, so that you're almost writing the book as you're in conversations, in terms of thinking about the potential readership or the potential audience, and that is a great benefit, and only comes with the diversity of people in so many different fields.